Hey, Nick from Playbook here. Hope you're doing great. Just wanted to welcome you to day three of our starting a software company in 100 days project. So, today, what I'm going to talk about is the specification building process that I've undertaken and how that's changed over time. So, in yesterday's video, I talked about how project management was a huge pain for me in building the earlier products that I've built, which one of them is Harvest Profit, which is a farm management software company. And when I say project management, I mean tracking features to be built, bug fixes, enhancements, updates, just iterative improvements, really turned into kind of just a big heaping pile of garbage, to be completely honest with you. And so have started using Basecamp to track to-dos. Also a big fan of GitHub issues and GitHub projects. I don't have experience with every tool, but that's just what's worked for me. So that's a big pain point that we're trying to actively fix, and I think we've made really good progress on that. The other one is just building out a thorough specification. And so I'm breaking this up into two steps. One is a specification for a designer. So that is version one of this spec that I have built out. And we've talked about, important terms, who are the users, have broken out and done some graphical, basically just some handwriting to explain it. I talked through a little bit of this spec in yesterday's video, but really just my thought here on what screens we're going to show, what they're going to look like, what the UI will be. So I call this version one of the spec. And what I wanted to do is, in working with a designer, which I'm going to talk about in day four tomorrow, I wanted to give them enough information, but yet have a broad enough scope so they had some creative leeway, given that I am not a designer. The farthest thing from a designer is myself. And so what I'm trying to do here is really just give a high level overview of what Playbook is, the different screens we're going to be creating, the different components that we will have. And so this initial version of this spec is what I am using in the design process, which we are working on some initial designs right now. But what I'm going to do for version two is follow this, basically this framework that Joel Spolsky has put out in Functional Specifications. It's a 4-part series. I will link to series one, part one in the series below this YouTube video. And just talking about what is a specification, who should write the spec, what the spec should have. And going back to my pain point from prior, one of the things that I haven't done a great job in the past of is being defined enough in the specification process. So what are the interactions on the screen? What exactly is every screen going to have? I've come to the table with designs and wireframes, and frankly, low fidelity wireframes, with a bunch of my annotations. But for this version of not Harvest Profit, but Playbook, I'm really going to get detailed into here's all the screens, here's the calls to action, here's the associated design, here's what some of the interaction should be. Should it be just a strict modal, a pop-up for a form, or should it be a separate piece of UI that slides out to the screen, or there going to be some other special animations that should be included in the software? And so using Joel's framework here, I'm really trying to be a lot more definitive with the specification I'm building, because we only have 100 days. And so don't just want to iterate. Want to handle a bunch of that iteration up front. And so the specification process is really what I've been focusing a lot of my time here on the last day or two, and I'm going to be focusing more time on that. And so here I want to show you, I'm going to go back here, we're in Basecamp, going to go back to the to-dos. And so from the design standpoint, this initial specification is done. And so I'm going to update our hill chart here and slide it up there. We still have a fair amount of scope to figure out with the designer, but we're starting to get a pretty good feel for the design. So we'll save that update. And so yeah, that's really where we're at on day 3 of the playbook project, is working on our spec and using the framework that Joel Spolsky has laid out in the series that I will share with you in the description. So thank you for joining me on day 3. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow on day 4 as we talk a little bit more about design. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Love to have you follow along as we basically start from scratch in building both an MVP software product and also the infrastructure, the company, the pricing that goes along with that. So have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you tomorrow.